All right, we're live. Welcome to episode 63 of the Pogo Baduk Weiqi podcast. I'm Xiaodai.
And I am Gaza.
And Gaza. We had some feedback about the sound not being quite equal. Apparently, you sound louder than me.
Yes, it's been a recurring issue, and I can appreciate that is quite an annoying feature of our podcast, having one person much quieter than the other.
Yes. So we've tried to take steps to address it. So let us know how that goes. But in this episode, we're gonna talk about the Honinbo Game 4, which is another cracker, Gaza. The sixth European Pro Championships, which has just concluded. The Aizu Central Hospital Cup in Japan, and an international seniors tournament. And we're gonna talk about a little bit about who made 9 Dan in just 4 years, and some, you know, bits and pieces of news from Korea before we go to the calendar. But Gaza, let's start with the Honinbo Game 4.
Yes, Honinbo Game 4. So, brief recap, the Honinbo is one of the big three titles in
Yep.
Japan,
Yep.
a domestic tournament.
Yep.
Using a title holder challenger system. So the title holder gets seeded directly into the final, the title match,
Yep.
while everyone else in Japan is fighting for the opportunity to be the challenger. Now,
Yes.
that opportunity was earned by Ichiriki Ryo
Yep.
for the second straight year. Last year, he lost the title match 4-0 to the
4-0.
reigning Honinbo Iyama Yuta.
Yep.
This year, he has gotten off to a much better start, winning 2 of the first 3 games in the title match.
Yep.
And then this is game 4.
Game 4.
Now, these are 2-day games, one of the very few.
Well, one of 3.
Yeah, one of 3, but yes, I believe there used to be more multi-day
Right.
games in Japan, but now it's just the title matches for the Kisei, Meijin, and Honinbo. And even next year, the Honinbo will no longer be in that group.
Yes.
But this year it is.
Yep.
So it's a 2-day affair, 8 hours of
8
time
hours, yes.
for each player.
Now, in fact, this is the end of the first day where you have to submit the sealed move. This is a picture of Iyama Yuta submitting the sealed move. And what's quite
Yes.
interesting, and what's quite interesting is that the next day, at the beginning of the stream, if you catch the stream early enough, oftentimes you can see the players playing out yesterday's moves one by one onto the board, and then getting the referee to check it before they unveil the sealed move. And that whole process it's quite quite interesting to look at. It's quite a spectacle to watch, even though it's kind of quite a fair. But it does give add a sense of what you call a ceremony to the games. It does make it a bit more serious than what you would associate with a normal Go game. So
Yes, I do wonder if there is a tradition behind it. If for those of you who know a little bit about Go history, and I know a small amount, not too much,
yeah,
in Japan, in the many centuries ago, they had what was called the castle games,
that's right. Yep.
because I believe the shogun in Japan was a Go fan, and so the strongest players in the country would come and play in his garden or his castle.
Yep.
But the stories that I've heard are that these games were played beforehand, and they were only recreated in front of the shogun
Right.
in the castle games, or either they were recreated, either they were played beforehand, or 90% of the game was played beforehand,
Right.
and most of the action in the castle game was actually a recreation. That's the story that I've heard.
Wow,
And
that's very interesting.
yes, I'm wondering if this is this sort of recreation at the start of day 2 of day 1's play from move 1
Yeah.
is continuing that tradition.
Yes, that would be a very, very interesting, tradition if that is actually true. So very interesting theory. I like it. Keep it coming, Gaza. Um, Now there was a little bit of a, I'm not sure if I actually even call it a controversy, but as I was scrolling through this beautiful post here of all the compendium of the pictures from the game 4, you notice that there's actually a lot of what you would call food porn. Um, Now, Gaza, was there not a famous Chinese player who had made some comments about the state of Japanese Go, and in particular, he's referred to some of the he talked about some of the food in in this. Do you recall what was mentioned, Gaza, and who
Well,
was it?
it's interesting that you asked me this
Yeah.
because I was told this by none other than yourself. So I have a feeling that you would be better to tell this story.
Yeah, well, Gaza, you might have confused me with someone else, but I just read about this on our Discord. So basically, now apparently, this,
Oh, my apologies. It was
yes,
someone else on our Discord.
yes,
Of course, yes.
yes,
My apologies to Kuhi on the Discord.
correct.
A very interesting post,
No,
but
it's not. It's not
I think.
Kuhi. It's not Kuhi. I think it was posted by Hanamaru
Oh, it's
Alice.
posted by Hanamaru,
That's right.
who has already joined us in the podcast in the chat. My
Yes.
apologies, Hanamaru.
Yeah. No
Yes,
worries.
it is a very interesting story, and I think it's best
Yeah.
if you
N-
tell it.
All right. So basically, now I'm just reading the headlines here, Gaza. Of the headline was in Chinese. So what it says is Zhou Ruiyang, having a little bit of a commentary on the state of Japanese Go. As the first comment is, they play too slowly. It's it's like a food cooking show, and they kneel down to play the games, and the players might as well go sleep in the closet, because I guess there he's referring to how slow the games are. It's a 2-day game. And he mentioned something about Chinese players who play really fast, like Li Qingcheng, could literally spend 10 minutes to finish the 2-day game. And then now, this comment about Li Qingcheng is fairly mild, I guess. I think back about 10 years ago, I've heard a version where they said if Luo Shihe were to play a 2-day game, he could make all his moves, take a shower, take a sauna, eat his meals, have a nap, and he will still have time left. So that's how slow some of these Japanese games feel to Chinese players nowadays. But I guess the general gist of the apparently Jorian gave a 20-minute rant on Bilibili. So he basically just I guess ripped into the Japanese Go. And I always found this very fascinating, and no one has been able to tell me why there's so much food porn in all of the Japanese Go games, especially the title matches. They just show you what they eat. Must be something about Japanese culture that I've still not been able to figure out. So very interesting stuff. But Gaza, having talked about all of this, shall we have a quick look at the game, because we think it's a cracker, and there's a few good reasons why that is. Gaza, do you want to tell us, what are
Yes.
some of the reasons why you think this is such a good game?
Well, firstly, before we go into the game, I just want to make a small correction on something I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
in the commentary for Game Three's Honinbo.
yeah.
I said that that was a game in which Iyama won, and I said that Iyama ended Ichiriki's 15-game win streak.
Mm.
Now, it turns out that Ichiriki's win streak at the time was not 15 wins; it was actually 17 wins.
17.
And
Right.
that's because some of the games, like the NHK Cup,
Yeah.
they are broadcast on a different day than the game is actually played. It's broadcast several months later.
Right.
So I was going by the broadcast date, not the actual game date. So according to the game date, Ichiriki did have a 17-game win streak. So a very long win streak.
Mm.
It was entirely domestic, but still quite impressive.
Yes.
That was ended by Iyama winning Honinbo Game 3.
Yeah.
Now, this Game 4, I think, is an outstanding game,
Mm.
in particular because of the play on day 2.
Mm.
It was an extremely close game throughout,
Right.
and the end of the game featured several ko's, seemingly never-ending series of ko's.
Yes.
A ko would finish, and then another one would start. Um, Players were fighting for scraps to get every single point, and in the end, and every point turned out to be vital because it was a half-point game. In the end, a half-point decision.
Crazy. So now apparently, Gaza, you mentioned that at this point in the game, when of course white is Iyama Yuta, when he haned, Ichiriki could have played two normal looking moves. One of course is cut. The other one is connect here. Both of these would
Yes,
be
this is move. Yes, for those who are not able to watch on YouTube, we're talking about move 152
three. Yep.
in the game.
Yep.
So white has just
Haned.
Hanade on top of black's stone.
Yeah.
And at this point, the AI says that black has black being Ichiriki, by the way, has a small lead of a few points.
About 3 according to AI, yes.
Yes, perhaps 3 points.
Yes.
Or 2.5. But you can imagine that at this point of the game, Ichiriki may not be entirely sure as to who's winning, and thus he may not have a great idea as to whether he can play a safe move or an aggressive.
Correct.
And it should also be pointed out, despite the fact that this game is 8 hours of main time, at this point of the game, move 152, Ichiriki was either already in Byoyomi or he was getting very close.
Yes.
Once again, just like Honinbo Game 3, I think that these players got into Byoyomi relatively early, especially for an 8-day game. But it certainly did not hinder the quality of the game.
Yes.
But in any case, Ichiriki, he could have cut white, and that would have been fine.
Yep.
That would have been good enough. Or he could have simply connected at J5, and this would have been the move that I like, because it also saves that stone at A6.
Yeah.
But Ichiriki, instead, he plays the aggressive move and he extends to L6.
Yes.
And according to AI, this move is too much, but it's not so easy to demonstrate that.
But
Iyama played
cut.
pretty well here. Yes.
So, I mean, by the result of looking at this, even if you don't really understand like what's going on, you can see the result of this is that Yama actually got a ko out of this. And as Gaza said, the game is within 2 or 3 points. So if white gains a major advantage with this kind of ko, then the game could get reversed, because at this point Ichiriki is leading, but Yama could easily reverse this because it's only a 2 or 3 point game. This does look like a play that's bigger than 2 or 3 points. So this is the first of many ko's.
Yes, it should be pointed out that yes, if Ichiriki simply connected, this could have all been avoided, and Ichiriki could have still had a small advantage. But instead, he's made it very complicated.
Yep.
So you could argue unnecessarily so, but like I said, he may not have known that he could simply play a safe move.
Yep. So now there's 2 ko's on the board. So I guess
another ko. Yes, you're right. Another ko is started around
in the
M12
middle
or L12.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the interesting is they started a second ko, but the first ko hasn't really finished yet. So so they keep fighting the ko.
That second ko is bigger because of the six white stones.
Yeah.
That were in a towery. But then what happens?
So after that, they finished the second ko, because as you said, it's a bigger one. So Yama ended up winning that one. So they went back to fighting the first ko, which Ichiriki won.
Yes, those 2 ko's got resolved at the same time. Ichiriki won the second ko, so Iyama went back and took the first ko.
Yeah. So after that, they just keep playing some Yosei moves. So I think both players realize that it's actually really, really close. So it's a very tense Yosei battle. But they have now set up another ko at the bottom left-hand corner in about move 248. I do believe at this point the game is very, very close, possibly down to maybe just half a point. So they fight that code for a little bit. Neither side can really afford to give up anything.
And yes, and by the way, at this point, both players are definitely in Byoyomi. They basically have to make a move every 60 seconds.
Yes, so it's very tense Yosei battle. Neither players are giving up because really one slip up here could just mean the game because so they keep fighting, and so now another code has appeared in the middle of the board around M11. So this code is basically if you have to fight a code, that means it's definitely down to half a point. So they keep fighting this code, and somehow Ichiriki managed to generate another code in the bottom bottom left hand corner. So now it's the fifth code going on. So they keep fighting that one. So keep fighting. Guys, I think if I'm not correct, there's not another code being generated. So this is
this is definitely the last code, but
Okay.
it's it's a very frustrating code for White because that bottom left corner, by all respects, White probably thought that was their corner, and now they have to fight a code for it.
Yeah, well, and given it's a half point game, the code really does matter. And as we mentioned before, Ichiriki came out on top, I believe, just by the slimmest of margins. Or did Iyama resign after he claimed?
No, they went to the count. It was
Okay.
a half-point game.
Half a point game. So what that means is Ichiriki is now up 3-1. He's poised to take the title from Iyama Yuta with just one more game needed to challenge successfully.
Yes, that's right. So because it's a best of 7, this title match, Iyama has to win games 5, 6, and 7.
Yes.
Otherwise, he will lose the Honinbo title that he's held for 11 straight years.
Yep. And he'll
Yes. Now, 2 years ago, Iyama was down 3-1.
Yep.
And he went on to win 4-3. That was against Shibano.
Yep.
I dare say that Ichiriki is in 2023 is going to prove to be a little bit more difficult to win 3 games against. But you can't write Iyama off.
No.
But you have to say that Ichiriki's the favorite now.
Yes, 100%. So more games, hopefully more than one game to look forward to, but definitely the next one will be hotly anticipated. So that's Honinbo for you. Now, guys, I'm moving on.
Yeah, but I do want to say that's I think that's a contender for Game of the Year.
Oh yes,
that game. I think we should put it in the nominees.
Nominees of the okay. Well, definitely
do that after the podcast.
Definitely remind me to do that, Gaza. But
I will remind you.
Yes. Moving on, we're gonna want to have a quick look at another region in the world, which is Europe. Now, Gaza, as much as I want to cover Europe and North America, news from these regions just don't come out every day. But when it does come out, it's always very interesting to look at. So
we sometimes just forget to check the calendars for Europe.
Yeah.
And North America. Europe does have a calendar.
Right.
They do have a fairly up-to-date calendar. North America can be a little bit more annoying.
Yeah.
To get sort of a single location for calendar, but Europe does have a calendar. It's just that they have so many tournaments that sometimes we just forget the big ones.
Yeah.
But the European Professional Championship did happen in the past 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And this is apparently the 6th time it's been held.
Very nice.
I don't recall who won it last year.
I also don't recall.
But in any case, this year it featured 8 European professionals, including the most recent professional, Jan Samara.
Yes.
And also a European professional, but not with the EGF.
That's very interesting.
Antti Tormanen, who is a one-dan, but through the Nihon Kiin, the Japanese professional system.
Yes.
Yes, I do believe that the European Professional Championships have, in the past, featured
players from
outside the EGF, including a Romanian 5-dan, Catalin Taranu.
Yep.
He's also a professional through the Nihon Kiin.
Yep.
And I believe he participated in at least the first European Professional Championship.
Right.
But yeah, I think the more recent ones have featured exclusively EGF pros, and Antti Tormanen I don't think has ever played in the European Professional Championship in the past.
Yes. So but it's really good to see Antti playing. Of course, he when I think there was a time when he went to the European Congress, Go Congress, and he was kind of stuck there. I think possibly due to some COVID restrictions or something. So he was going to be a bit because he technically went there as a volunteer. I guess he wasn't really that compensated for his work in the Go Congress, so he was kind of stuck there, with some, being out of pocket. So he sent out a post asking if there are kind of interested students who want to take up some of his time to do some teaching Go. So I took him up on the offer. So he gave me a teaching Go lesson, and I have to say that was really great. So I definitely want to take more lessons with Antti in the future. So needless to say, Gaza, I was crushed, but that's not the point. But he's a really lovely man. Great to see him in competition. So Gaza, I think the format of the game is like it's a looks like it's a round robin, broken up into two groups, and I believe and it looks like they will have a semi-final and then a final. So what happened was, I guess the top two from each group will progress. So Antti.
Yes, that's right. Yes, each group of 4 players just had a single round robin.
Right. Is it a round robin, or is it because it looks like it's only got 2 games per row, or sometimes it's got 3 games?
I think perhaps the last game of each round robin wasn't played because it didn't affect the result.
Right. Okay. I'm not really
because it was first versus last.
Right.
So
Right.
it didn't affect anything.
Right.
Some notable things though. Artem Kachanovsky ended up not winning, losing both of his games, which perhaps is a bit of a shock. And Jan Samara did win a game.
Yep.
He beat Tanguy Lecau from France.
Yep.
So yes, perhaps some interesting results. Stanislav Frejlak, who's the second most recent pro, ended up making the semi-finals.
Yes.
Finished second in his groups. So.
Yeah, so semi-final is between Antti and Stanislav, and Mateusz and Ali. And then
Mateusz Surma from Poland.
Yep.
And Ali Jabarin from Israel.
So, and then Antti managed to beat Stanislav, and Ali lost to Mateusz. So it's Antti versus Mateusz Surma in the final. And Gaza, we're gonna have an innovation. We're gonna do something that we've never done on this podcast before, and that is, you want me to do a live reaction to the Kifu of the final of the European Championship.
Yes, that's right.
So what are we doing, Gaza? So I'm going to do a live reaction. Now, the last time you got me to do a live reaction, obviously, it was not on air. It was a game between Choi Jong and Kim Chae-young, I believe, and the game finished at 85 moves. So so what's happening in this game, Gaza? So we have Antti as white. And Mateusz as black.
So Poland's Mateusz Surma is black.
Yep.
Finland's Nihon Kiin professional Antti Tormanen is white. And what do you think of the... you've already seemed to have gotten to move, 65?
65, yes.
And what do you think of the board so far? I mean,
it does look like it's one of those really complicated fights deep within Black's territory. So obviously, I can see down at the bottom of the screen, there's a white group there that probably doesn't look alive, but the black group surrounding it also has a few cutting points, and the shapes aren't exactly nice. So I'm going to guess that the white group lives, and if that's the case, and given the white has 3 corners and a bit, then white It might be ahead on pure territory, but black is building up a little bit of a wall and some thickness in the middle as well. So it does feel like still playable. But obviously, I haven't seen the AI yet, so I could be completely talking about complete
Well,
garbage here.
let's not look at the AI.
Yeah.
Let's just go with live reactions. So go
Okay.
through the moves.
Okay. So.
So obviously they're trying to white is trying to live
Yep. Oh, so white.
in that region.
Okay. So white managed to cut black off. So black jumps back. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Now white starts to exploit black's cut point on the outside. And technically at this point, white isn't alive yet. It's only got one eye in Gote in the inside. So let's see what white can do here. So white Ataris. So white now has to cause some trouble before he lives, I guess. Okay, is it the Tetsuji to live, Kaza?
It is a Tsuji, as you can see.
Okay, yeah, white's
white,
probably alive now.
yeah, white is now completely alive because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
because black can't squeeze this eye anyway because white can Atari here.
F2 kills the whole
Yeah.
that whole black section. So
Yeah. So but therefore black Atari is the Sente, probably. Yeah, okay. So anyway, so white's alive now. My predictions come out correct. So white decides to cause more
so
trouble.
you could imagine now that black is behind by a fair amount of points, right?
Yes, that's what I would. Yes, that's my assessment, Gaza. Ooh,
So now,
and now, ooh, does look. If you ask me, that does look maybe painful for black, but white's
it
also
looks
in
very painful for black.
But white's in a few pieces as well. Ooh, wow, white even dare to harness. Okay, I would prefer white at this point, Gaza.
Well, you can see now that white even captured black on the right as well.
Yep. Yes, there's some RG, but yes, pretty. So white looks pretty good.
So
Okay.
now there's this final battle, the final chance for black is that white group at the top.
Yeah, it's white at the top.
If white lives at the top, then
Yeah.
black has no chance.
Yeah.
Basically.
So, but doesn't look like it's easy to live. I think white either can get something out of this or live. I think both is fine because if I look at the board, looks like practically what black's got no territory basically. Yeah. So it's white either live or have to cleverly exploit this group somehow, and then white's ahead. So, but I would say that white is ahead. At the pro level, I think it's hard to see white dying. So, so what happened, Gaza? Ooh, so black is trying very hard to attack white. White is also trying very hard to, attach everywhere, trying to create some eye space. So white just did a very interesting move, attach. Black did an even more interesting move to clamp. That's a cut. Okay. So, Gaza, has anything interesting happened that I've missed yet, or it's still
No.
okay?
It's still fighting, and white is basically trying to not live locally, but trying to get out. I think on the left, I think is.
Now, and also by move 176, white's managed to cut off black as well, and it's black's only way home is via Ko, and this black group has one Gote eye, and looks like white's ahead on liberties if white can somehow manage to win this Ko. So what happened here, Gaza?
I don't think that eye is Gote, is it?
This eye, black eye, is Gote.
Yes. But then, isn't that threatening K10? Tengen?
Oh yeah, Tengen, and then can make a second eye. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a Sente eye. So okay.
But it's still just one eye.
Yeah, it's just one eye. Okay.
Now if you go back, to move 183.
183. Yep, that's 183 coming out.
Yes. Now 184 was the turning point in the game, but it's really difficult to see for even a pro, I think. Well, right. I'm not sure. I'm nowhere near a pro, but apparently this was the losing move.
Right. Okay.
At this point, black I think black can prevent white from living.
Right.
The white group from living. Otherwise, white could have still escaped. Yeah.
Right.
Because the other thing is that black stones around the G9, black's G9 stones are also not alive either.
Yep. These ones. Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yep.
if white played, I think if white played on the other side, so instead of for move 184, instead of F14, if white played, I think D12.
Just extend. Yes.
Yes, I think that's good enough.
Okay. So what happens now? That doesn't look like it's gonna work. I'm not sure what the sequence is, but I can see how this black group is tight on liberties. Oh yeah, maybe just Atari.
No, it's three. Three play at 4.
Sorry.
Move 3 that you've got
Yeah.
at D10, play at D11.
3 play at 4 like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Atari and then Atari. Yeah, cannot connect already. So yeah, so blacks would be in trouble. Black can't even harness there. So it does look like it's a bit of a trouble for black. It's a bit hard to continue. Yes, I can see how a pro reading out more variations than I did could have done that. So, but what happened then, Gaza? Are there anything major after this?
Well, I mean, it's pretty crazy how black manages to escape by like essentially, his G9 group doesn't have enough eyes. His M9 group doesn't have enough eyes.
Yeah.
But they both have just enough liberties
Right. Yes.
to stop white from living. And then
Wow.
then it obviously becomes a co-fight at
Yeah.
at N15, but black has too many co-threats.
Oh wow.
So perhaps a bit of a shock, but
Yeah. So at this point, White resigned, and basically just
white's got no more co-threats.
yeah. So White doesn't have enough co-threats. So it's a very crazy game, guys. I have to say.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy if you consider the position. At when white played like R11, it seemed like black had no territory.
Yeah. So I just turned on the AI. It looks like at some point, White is leading by quite a bit. Yes, about 40 points according to the AI. But as you said, White could have just done. Looks like AI says that White could have just done an extend. That would have been a much better option. But I guess maybe they're down to they're also pressed for time, so they can obviously make these kind of so-called mistakes. Yeah,
and it's still not simple. Even
Yes.
after D12, it's not simple
yeah,
at all. So, but yeah, they were short on time as well. I believe the time controls, they start with 50 minutes and then 25 seconds Fisher increment.
yeah. So even though I probably can't appreciate all the thought and the variation that goes into all of the pro moves here, I can imagine how watching this game live would have been very, very entertaining for me. So so that was a really, really interesting game there. So that's the 6th European Pro Championship won by Mateusz, and so congrats. And looking forward to the next one and to see how we go. Now, Gaza, shall we move on?
I just want to also mention, I found it interesting because the European pros, for several tournaments like the Chuzhou Lanka Cup and the Chunlan Cup, Europe gets a representative in those world majors.
Yeah.
Antti, on the other hand, because he plays for the Neon Kiin, he would have to go through the Japanese system to earn a shot at representation, which he's never gotten remotely close to being selected for Japan.
Yeah.
And yet he comes over here and he I believe that in the games that he won, the 3 games that he won, he won quite, decisively. And he had he had a very significant advantage in this final as well. It's just interesting to see him dominate some of these European pros, and yet he's never even come close to playing the world major, while these European pros get an automatic spot.
Yeah, well, I think for world tournaments, it kind of makes sense to set aside places for less developed regions.
Oh yeah, I certainly understand, but I think the message is that Europe is still significantly behind these Asian countries, and if they ever end up getting a win against a player from the Asian region, it's a massive upset.
Yes, yes. I mean, mind you, they have done that before, so it's not impossible. It's just that obviously just everything from infrastructure to the teachers available to the materials, learning materials, it's just more abundant in all these Asian countries. So it's just the way it is. But I do look forward to a time when there's a very serious challenger from Europe. I mean, I did hear from time to time on Facebook very interesting pictures coming out. For example, Russia, where they have apparently lots of children playing the game. So maybe they will be have some really strong players there. So yeah, look forward to the continued development of European Go. So let's see how far it will take. They'll go in my lifetime. So now, Gaza, moving on to the next topic, which is a topic I really like, the 10th Aizu Central Hospital Cup in Japan. Now, this is a women's tournament held, I believe, in a title challenger format. And the current title holder is Ueno Asami, which, as I have mentioned before, is arguably Japan's #1 women's player, overtaking Fujisawa Rina. And Fujisawa challenged Ueno Asami in this one, and in the first 2 games it was 1-1. And given it's a best of 3, either player will only have to win 1 more game to win this very prestigious women's title. Now the game is 3 hours apiece with 5 1-minute byomi. So, and this is of course the 2 players here, Ueno Asami and Fujisawa Rina.
Yes, and the winning prize is 7 million yen.
Yep.
Maybe that's about 60 or 55,000 US dollars, which is most of the women's title matches, women's majors in Japan are around about the same amount of prize money. But that's roughly the equivalent of some of the biggest Korean tournaments, open tournaments, that is.
Yep.
So very healthy amount of money.
Yep.
And like you said, Fujisawa Rina is the challenger. She was actually the previous holder of the Aizu Central Hospital Cup, but lost it to Ueno Asami last year. So she's come back to try and regain that title. And she won game 1, but Ueno Asami ended up winning game 2. Both times the white player won. And then game 3, I believe, was played on Monday, so a week ago.
Yep.
Not sure if I've got the timeline right, but
yep. Now, speaking about timelines, one thing that was very interesting that it was mentioned in the article is that they had recently both played in the Wuqingyuan Cup, and after playing in the Wuqingyuan Cup, they had to play in the Aizu Central Hospital Cup, which apparently took place over 3 consecutive days, the final. So I do believe it's the 17th of June all the way to 19th of June, so 3 days. So the last game was Monday, 19th of June.
Oh, yeah, that is right. They did play over 3 straight days. I didn't notice that. I thought they had 1 day break, but they didn't.
No. So it's they call it a what's it called? It's translated as physical strength. So basically, it means a physical, test, a very very tough test, I guess, in terms of physical. But Gaza, in this game, we have to say I do believe Ueno Asami came out the victor. So
She did, yes. She
yes.
didn't dominate the entire game. Fujisawa Rina did have her chances, but Asami ended up in the end
This is
um,
yeah.
the winner. I think.
Yes, and this particular plate of a prize or trophy. Now, her nickname is Hammer Girl. Do you think she'll be smashing the hammer down this plate?
Yes, I do believe that she will.
Okay.
Someone mentioned in the Discord that it's fitting that the Hammer Woman
Yeah.
is the title holder of a tournament sponsored by a hospital.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
the reason.
sure if it could be any less appropriate, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think hospitals um, enjoy taking on hammer victims.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that this reminds me of a story my high school English teacher have told. She said one of her friends, one of her child's friends, dentist, it's literally called Dr. Payne. So there you go.
That's his actual name.
Yeah, yeah, Dr. Payne. Yes,
Yes.
very good.
But yeah, you didn't look at the Kifus, did you?
No, I didn't get Kifu unless you want to tell me what happened in the Kifu.
No, I didn't think the
Mm.
Kifu was all that interesting. It
Yeah,
wasn't a bad game by any
yeah,
means, but I
but
think we can
yeah,
skip over the Kifu. In any case, Asami retains her title.
mm.
So Fujisawa Arena, I think it's very clear that Asami is
Mm.
also holding on to her status as Japan's number one
Yes,
women's player.
yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to her appearance in this year's Hoban Cup. It's one of the tournaments I look forward to the most. Let's
Yes.
see. Now, so going from a restricted tournament just for the ladies to a restricted tournament for what they call senior players. I'm not sure if you can call someone who's born in the year 1977 a senior, but maybe another better name would be a veterans tournament. But there was a Gaza supposedly the fourth. I think it's like 1004 Island Shinhan International Veterans Go Tournament that took place in Korea, but it's got some really big
This
names
is
participating.
Yes, because this is essentially the world senior
Yep.
world championships,
Yeah.
and so it has big names from um,
China.
Korea,
Yep.
Japan,
Mm-hmm.
China,
Yep.
and also some other countries like Europe,
Mm.
the US, and Australia.
Yes. Very nice.
Interestingly, no one from Taiwan. I'm not sure
All right.
why that's the case,
Right.
but it is. This is. Oh, no, no. Sorry, there was someone from Taiwan, but he represents the Nihon Kiin.
Right. 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 Yes.
Right. Yes, but it's essentially the World Seniors Championship. So
Yep.
all of the great veteran players like Cho Hun Hyun, Seo Bong Soo, Yu Cheng Hyuk,
Yep.
and even Lee Chang Ho, who is now
Yes.
old enough
Mm.
to play in the Senior World Championship.
Yes, so if I'm not wrong, Lee Chang-ho was born in the year 1977, and the rule states that you have to be older than someone born in 1978 to make it. 1978 sounds like such an arbitrary number that I'm
It's not an
guessing.
arbitrary number.
Yeah.
For the record, Lee Chang Ho was born in 1975,
Right. Okay. Even older.
and the number is 45 years.
Yeah.
You have to be born in the year such that in 2023 you turn 45 or older. So that's
Okay.
why 1978.
Right. 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 So
Next year it will be
yeah.
1979.
Right. So it wasn't designed to let Lee Chang-ho play in it.
No, because Lee Chang Ho participated in last year's event as well.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
in any case, Lee Chang Ho didn't win this tournament. In fact, he lost in the quarterfinals.
Yes. So we're looking at some pictures here of the players. So we got Lo Shihe here. I think I've told this story before, but the matchup between Lo Shihe and Lee Chang-ho is brings back happy memories for Chinese fans, because when the Koreans were dominating international Go, Lo Shihe was the first, I believe, the first Chinese player to have beaten Lee Chang-ho in a final. In fact, Lo Shihe beat Lee Chang-ho in the Samsung Cup final, I believe, and 2-1. So and that was actually the last time that Lee Chang-ho, and after coming second to Lo Shihe, Lee Chang-ho has not won an international title after that year. So you can say that Lo Shihe, spells the beginning of the end for Lee Chang-ho. So, Gaza, shall we have a quick look at all the matchups to see if there's any interesting? So we got
Yes,
Korea.
we should say that Lee Chang-ho won this game against Lo Shihe.
That's right. Well, he won that game.
He may have lost in the Samsung Cup final, 19 years ago, but he won this one.
Yeah, I know. He dropped the watermelon, but he picked up a sesame. So we got the matchups is Choi Myung-hyun versus Orise.
Orise is the Taiwanese representative. However, he does play in the Nihon Ki-in.
Yes, and I believe Orise is the person who have won 2 international titles. So he's a very strong player. So Choi Myung-hyun won that one, and then we got Lee Sang-hyun beating the Thai representative, Ratchayat Futwat Chet Katkon. So so kind of expected. Lee Sang-hyun, is this Lee Sang-hyun the brother of Lee Sedol?
It is actually someone with the same name as Lee Sedol's brother, but a different player. There are 2 professional Lee Sang-hyun 9-dans.
Right.
One of them is Lee Sedol's brother. Yeah. The other one is this guy.
Yes. And then we got Seo Non-wook versus Yoda Norimoto.
Seon Yun-wook is a 2-time champion of the Daeju Cup.
Yep.
He has over 1,100 professional wins, and Yoda Norimoto, is a Japanese legend.
Yes, legend.
He's won the Nongshim Cup for Japan, and I believe he has also won a world major.
So I might have told this before, but Seo Non-wook, his nickname what's it called? Monkey. If you recall, Gaza, the TV show, Japanese TV show Monkey. Of course, it was based on the a Chinese fantasy novel called The Journey to the West. Now you know what the ironic thing with that nickname is, Gaza?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay, so this is how Seo Non-wook looks like. I would say that he's if you just go by his looks, you think that he's more piggy than monkey.
Pigsy.
Yeah, Pixie. Yes. So yeah.
Yes.
That was it. So moving on. So we got Lee Chang-ho versus Lo Shihe. Apparently Lo Shihe was leading by a bit in the game, but he ended up losing. So Lee Chang-ho progresses. Seo Pyeon-soo, the legend, versus Yu Bin. Yu Bin won that one, and then Jang Ming-ju.
Yu Bin is a China representative. He's also one of the coaches of the Chinese national team.
Well, in fact, he's the head coach of the Chinese national team. Yes.
Yes.
And then we got Jang Ming-ju, of course, originally from China, but represents North America, taking on David He of Australia. We see David He all the time in tournaments in Australia, don't we?
Yes, I actually attended the tournament in which David He was selected for this international competition. Of course, I wasn't participating. I'm not that old.
Yeah.
But I attended the event where David He won.
Yes, very nice. So,
but
unfortunately,
yes, he wasn't able to beat Jiang Minju.
Yes, but according to Yang Ge, who gave the commentary on this game, he did very well until he just made a mistake somewhere in the middle game. So,
yes,
could have been a pro. But I do believe David used to train as a kind of pro in China, but I don't know. And then we got Yu Chang-hyuk taking on Takemiya Masaki.
Yes, now Yu Chang-hyuk, I believe he has won the last 2
Right.
senior world championships.
Oh yes.
So
He's been described by our Korean friend as the Shinjin Soi of seniors. So
yes, but this time he lost in the first round to Japan's other representative, Takemiya Masaki. Now Takemiya is the first ever world champion. He won the Fujitsu Cup, which is the first ever world major.
Yep. Yes. Of course, Cosmic Go fame.
Yes, I believe he also won the second Fujitsu Cup, and he also won the first 4 editions of the Asian TV Cup.
That's right. Yes.
So he was more or less the international king.
Yes.
Of the 80s, but
legend.
Yeah, obviously the 80s are more than 30 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, he's still got it clearly.
Yes. And what another name that brings me a lot of joy, Cho Han-hyun, taking on the European representative Rob van Zijts.
Yes. Now Cho Han-hyun is the first. He was also a legend of the 80s. He won the first In Cup.
Yes.
And he also currently holds the record for most ever professional wins with nearly 2,000.
Yes. Just amazing.
Rob van Zijst, he's played in world majors in the past, representing Europe. I'm pretty sure he's played in quite a few Fujitsu Cups. And he's also I see his posts every now and again on English language Facebook pages on Go.
Yes.
So clearly still very active in not just playing but also promoting the game.
Yes.
So yeah, good to see him still out and about. Of course, understandably he wasn't strong enough for Cho Han-hyun, but
yes,
still good work. It must also be pointed out, by the way, that this tournament was played in person. All of these players traveled to Korea.
Yes.
To play in person. And the games are also quite fast. I believe they're 30 minutes main time. And it's played over 2 days. So the first round and the quarterfinals were played on the Saturday. And or was it the Friday? And it was the Thursday actually. On Thursday they played the round of 16 and quarterfinals, and then on Friday they played the semi-final and final.
Yep. Okay, so and then we got Takemiya taking on Cho Han-hyun. Now, Takemiya was known as one of the...
Yes, this is the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals. Was actually known as one of the few Japanese players who's not afraid of the Korean style. So, I guess when the Korean style first gained prominence in the international game, it was known as kind of like more or less like a fighting kind of style. Like, and Takemiya wasn't one of the few Japanese players who's not, I guess, rattled by that. He's got a pretty good record versus Cho Han-hyun, I do believe. And then moving on, in the other quarterfinal, we got Yu Bin beating Jang Min-ju. So apparently Yu Bin, given that he's the national team coach, he gets exposed to a lot of the AI moves. So he's actually quite up to date, apparently, with the AI moves. So, or whatever he can remember. But I guess his memory wouldn't be as strong as someone who's young. But if you get exposed to it like day in, day out, I guess you do retain it quite a bit. So that's maybe his advantage there. But so we got Roda Norimoto taking on Lee Chang-ho in the other quarterfinal. This is another majorly interesting one because Yoda, also known as Tiger, is a little bit of a Lee Chang-ho killer. He's have a pretty good record versus Lee Chang-ho, even when Lee Chang-ho was in his prime. So and then we got Choi Min-hyun beating Lee Sang-hyun, and now we're on to the semifinals. We got Yoda Norimoto.
So it should be mentioned before we go into the semifinals that both of the Japanese representatives made it into the semifinals.
Yes.
Only one Korean player made it into the semifinals, and that's Choi Myung-hun. So Cho Han-hyun, Lee Chang-ho, Yu Chang-hyuk would have been, a
dream team,
expected to make the semifinals, but none of them did.
Yeah, which it's a bit of a surprise, actually. Yes.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise. Yes.
So you know what? it got even worse for Korea because Tormanen lost to Yoda Norimoto, so there's no Koreans in the
And
final.
yeah, I do want to mention it's for some reason that link says that Yoda Norimoto won by 16.2 points.
Yeah, which is not
Uh,
really possible, Gaza.
that's not actually possible. He did in fact win by 16 and a half.
Yes.
And it was very interesting because it was it was already by about move 100 where it was pretty clear that Yoda Norimoto was well ahead. And obviously, players will often keep playing because there might be a chance of a reversal to a complication and reversal, but that never happened in this game. And even when it was very clear that there was nothing that could be done, I was very surprised that Cho Myung-hoon kept playing, until the very end, because it was quite obvious that he was
Losing.
dead lost. But I mean, it's his right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it just seemed a bit interesting to me. But more interesting, I think, was the other semi-final.
Yes, what happened? Tell us what happened here. It's Yubin versus Takemiya Masaki.
Yeah, so Yubin versus Takemiya Masaki. Now, like I said, these games were being played face-to-face. And I think it was 30 minutes main time and 3 30-second Byoyomis.
Right.
Which is important.
Yes.
Now, just like the Yoda Norimoto versus Cho Myung-hoon semi-final, Takemiya Masaki as white got out to a very strong lead and was basically dominating the game. The AI had him at over 99%, 99.8%, I believe, which is basically almost you never heard of a player losing from that position. But what happened was, late in the game, obviously both players had used up their main time, and they were both down to their last Byoyomi. And Takemiya, when he went to make his move, he dropped the stone. He dropped the stone, and before he could pick it up and make his move and press the clock, he'd run out of time.
No.
So in a completely winning position, are you able to find the key food, by the way?
Yes. Let me.
Because in a completely winning position, he lost on time because he's a butterfingers.
Oh wow! What a way to lose, Kaza.
Yeah, what a way to lose. And if that hadn't happened, it would have been 2 Japanese players in the final, just like the golden age of Japanese Go.
Yeah, wow. An era long gone, Kaza. So this
it's clearly still alive and well in the seniors tournament, but Takemiya literally had it slip through his fingers.
Yes, so well, it's good that Yubin didn't give up then. So I don't know what happened here, but it says the game ended at the at this move. So I'm not sure if it's white played this
I believe
move.
that was the move that Takemiya Masaki wanted to play, but ran out of time.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know how much it was leading by, but I guess it's enough that I think it's gonna win. So that's the.
I don't think he could have passed, by the way.
Right.
Because they were playing out of co, so passing wouldn't have been an option.
Okay, so yep.
But the AI is saying that he's winning by about 20 points.
Right. So doing quite well there. But it didn't quite win this one. So what that meant was that we got Yubin and Yoda Norimoto in the final. Now, one of the headlines in this Chinese website, it basically says Korea has 7 players participate, and no one made the final. This would make huge news if it was an open tournament, but in the seniors tournament, I guess it's sometimes these things can happen, but it's rare to see a no Korean final. But that's what happened. We got a
it's a seniors tournament, so
so we got a Japanese flag and a Chinese flag happening in Korea. So they've got a camera facing them. And in the final, we have basically Yubin beating Yoda Norimoto and taking out the, I believe, 30 million won prize money. So congrats
that's
to
about
Yubin.
25 grand.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's not bad. And by the way, I did check, and And Yota Norimoto is a former Samsung Cup champion.
Yes. In fact, he won the first one.
Oh, he won the very first. Oh, that's right. He
That's
did.
right. Yes.
Whereas Yubin is an LG Cup champion.
Yes. Now, Yubin's win is arguably more impressive in that he won during what's called the in the Chinese Weiqi circle called the dark winter of Chinese Weiqi, because there was a stretch of 10 years, almost 10 years, where China had not won anything at the international stage, except for that one solitary win by Yubin, 3-1 over Yu Chang-hyuk. So some pretty legendary stuff from Yubin there. But moving on from the Shinhan International Seniors Cup, now guys, there's another tournament that happened in Korea. I'm not sure if it's kind of a restricted tournament or what kind of tournament it is, but I think it's like a open tournament, and it's got
I'm pretty sure this is an open tournament.
Right. And supposedly it's got 116 pros and 20 amateurs playing in the, I guess, the strongest division. So that's
yes,
and it's got some big names.
Pro-Am,
right?
They call it, yes.
Right. So and what they have is some big names participating in this tournament. We got Choi Jong playing, and we got Han Woo Jin, picture here, and Kim Myung Hyun, and the winner's prize money is actually also 30 million won, the same as the seniors tournament.
Yes. Now this isn't a Korean major, but it is. It is an open tournament, and as such, in open tournaments in Korea, if you win, you get 2 dan promotion.
Right.
And if you come second, you get a 1 dan promotion.
Right.
Now, mind you, just because it's an open tournament doesn't mean that everyone participated. For instance, Shinjin So did not compete.
Right.
In this tournament, and I believe that Park Junghwan didn't either. I'm not sure exactly who participated, but Kim Young-hoon would have been one of the favorites.
Right.
And I also believe that it was a knockout.
Right. Yes.
No, I'm not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure it would have been a knockout because there were just so many players.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the results now.
Sure.
Yeah, it was a straight knockout. So the finals had the final stage had, I think, 24 players.
Yeah. Now it does say in this article that Shinjin So, Park Junhwan, Shin Min Jun, Kang Dong Yun, and Won Song Jin, they all gave up on the chance to play in this tournament. This might be the way they play the amateur tournament, and this is where I don't know, you guys, if you find this a bit strange because they play by sitting on the floor over here.
Yes. So I think the favorite, they do play by sitting on the floor, Japanese style, I guess.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I would have thought that it's interesting that they do that.
Yeah.
But they also seem to play in a gymnasium.
Yeah.
But so like you said, Shinjin So, Shin Min Jun, Park Chun Hwan, Kang Dong Yoon, and Won Song Jin didn't participate. But Byun Sang Il, for instance, he did participate, so he would have been the hot favorite. He actually lost to Han Woo Jin in the round of 16.
Right.
Kim Ji Sok was another strong player. He lost to Moon Min Jung in the round of 16, and then Han Woo Jin beat Moon Min Jung in the quarterfinals in like a battle of the rookies.
Yep.
Choi Jong, another strong player that played, and she ended up making it to the semifinals before falling to Kim Young-hoon. So she didn't do too bad. She beat everyone she was expected to beat, including another rookie, Kwon Ho Jin.
Yep.
Only made it to the semifinals. She's still looking for her first mixed gender title.
Yep.
Hong Song Ji, Lee Ji Hyun, they both competed. Quite a few strong players competing. But in the end, it was Kim Young-hoon, who was probably the second favorite after Byun Sang-il. He ended up taking it out,
Yep.
beating Han Woo-jin in the final. Now, Kim Young-hoon, he was already a 9 dan, so he didn't get any dan promotions. But Han Woo-jin was 8 dan coming into this tournament, and therefore, by coming second,
Yeah.
he gets promoted to 9 dan.
Believe it or not, Gaza.
And that is a very fast promotion, by the way.
Yes.
I'll just try and check just how quickly.
About 4 years He turned pro in 2019 January. And
Yes, January 2019. And so it was 4 years and a bit over 5 months. Now, I believe the record for fastest 9 dan after turning pro is held by Park Young-hoon.
Right.
And I have to check that because this must be remarkably close. And if actually Park Young-hoon took 4 years and 7 months.
Right.
So it looks like a new record has been set for fastest 9 dan after turning pro.
Wow. Now, if I remember correctly, Gaza, I do remember the player Marshall Chun had turned 9 dan very, very quickly. Now, so Gaza, Marshall Chun might have been a bit of a special case. I'm looking at the Marshall Chun's Chinese Wikipedia page, and what it says is that in 1982, Marshall Chun was assessed to be 7 dan. And in 1983, he was promoted to 9 dan. So technically, he only needed 1 year to become pro.
I don't think that case counts because because China didn't really have a professional system.
Right.
When Ma Xiaojun was strong, like technically, Ni Wei Ping was assigned a 9 dan as soon as he turned professional.
Yes.
So I don't. Those are exceptional cases that don't really count. And we're talking about cases where, you turn pro in an already established system, and then you become 9 dan.
Yes.
Well, at the very least, yes. Under those terms, Han Woo-jin seems to have set a new record,
Now,
which is either it's a case of Han Woo-jin having incredible talent, or perhaps a very liberal and accommodating promotion system in Korea.
Yeah. Now, if I'm not wrong, Han Woo-jin only got to 8 dan by winning the Globus Cup.
That is correct. Yes.
And then 2 weeks later, he's come second in his tournament. He's become 9 dan. Technically he's taken the shortest amount of time, maybe for a Korean pro to become turning pro to becoming 9 dan. But and it took Shin Jin-seo about 6 years. Okay, but you're saying that Shin Jin-seo, when he turned 9 dan, he was still younger than Han Woo-jin is now.
No, I've just checked, and Han Woo-jin is about a week younger than Shin Jin-seo was.
Wow.
At turning 9 dan. Shin Jin-seo seems to have been 18 years and 21 days old. Han Woo-jin was maybe 18 years and 14 days old, or 16 days old, something like that. So within a week, they're within a week of each other.
So is Han Woo-jin going to be the next Shin Jin-seo?
I don't think so.
Right.
Mind you, Park Young-hoon had the previous record for fastest to 9 dan, and Shin Jin-seo has already exceeded his accomplishments.
Right.
I think that it's Han Woo-jin will probably be a very good player, but these speed runs to 9 dan don't necessarily determine what your ceiling is.
Right. Yeah.
And we've seen already that Shin Jin-seo's ceiling is extraordinarily high.
Yes.
It remains to be seen what Han Woo-jin's ceiling is.
Yes. let's see. But I guess people aren't holding up a lot of hopes. Now, there was some very interesting things mentioned by this article about the fastest promotions. Apparently, Lee Ching-chen, he was only 2 dan when he won the Asian TV Cup.
That's
And
right, and he'd only recently turned 2 dan
yes,
when he'd won the Asian TV Cup. So
and he went
if you're
straight.
looking at
Yeah,
if you're looking at shortest time span from the end of your 1 dan career to the beginning of your 9 dan career, Lee Ching Cheng probably holds the record for that.
that's right. Yeah, so
Of course, he got promoted immediately to 9 dan after winning the Asian TV Cup. That's why his promotion was so quick.
yes, that's correct. Now, if you look across in Japan, you will have players roughly around the same age as Han Woo-jin. They would be players like Seki Kotaro, who was born in 2001, and he went from Shodan from in 2017 to 9 dan in 2022. It's only took him about 5 years. So yeah, so I guess winning a title in major title in Japan, that does help. But
Is that a Japanese record for shortest time?
I'm not really sure.
I think it might be. Of
Might
course,
be. Yeah.
Seki Kataro, by the way, Han Woo-jin was born, I think, 3 years later than Seki Kataro.
Right.
No, 4 years later even.
Yeah.
Even in Japan, there's no one has turned 9 dan at Han Woo-jin's age. The only teenager in Japan to become a 9 dan is Shibano
Yeah.
Torimaru, when he won the Meijin at age 19.
Yes.
In Japan, getting to 9 dan is not so easy. You have to basically either win a major title or win hundreds of games, like hundreds, and those games have to be in open competition. They can't be in restricted tournaments.
Yep. So yeah, it's not easy. So
Yeah,
I
certainly
guess,
not easy.
but I guess the reason why I noticed this piece of news about Han Woo-jin becoming 9 dan was there was a lot of discussion online in the Chinese media saying how it feels a bit too quick for Han Woo-jin, and that
It certainly feels very quick because Han Woo-jin is still not at his peak. I mean, obviously, players like Shin Jin-so hadn't reached their peak either
yeah
when they turned 9 dan. But I would say with Shin Jin-so, he was already in the top 10 in Korea
yeah
when he turned 9 dan. And I would say when you're in the top 10 in Korea, 9 dan is inevitable.
yes
You're obviously not out of place getting a 9 dan. Han Woo-jin, he hasn't. I don't think he's even reached the top 20 in Korea. He's currently ranked 37. He also in Korean domestic tournaments. I mean, this is the first time he's made the final of a domestic tournament, like an open tournament, that is,
yeah
in Korea. And even then, it was although it was an open tournament, there were a lot of players missing. I would say that this is really this tournament really is his first serious accomplishment, in open competition.
so yeah
I guess it's not out of place for him to be a 9 dan because I think he will prove in the coming years that he deserves to be called a 9 dan. But I think that what people are probably criticizing is the fact that he's set a record for fastest 9 dan when he hasn't really accomplished much in open competition. Like for instance, Park Young-hoon, he won the Fujitsu Cup,
yeah
right? That's what got him to 9 dan. And that's what helped him set the record.
yeah
Whereas Han Woo-jin, like he won the Globus Cup, which is obviously a big tournament, but it's still a juniors tournament. And a lot of his other promotions have been from winning rookie competitions.
yeah
So perhaps that's what people are saying. He's obviously a 9 dan in the making, but maybe been in the record books as the fastest 9 down is perhaps a bit out of place.
Yes, yes. Perhaps it's a honor that's not befitting of its achievements yet. Gaza,
I guess that's the best way to put it.
yes. Now, Gaza, from a 9 dan that's a little bit maybe controversial to a 9 dan that's not controversial at all, and in fact, the legend of the game. Now, apparently, Lee Sedol.
Yes.
Lee Sedol, apparently, he's given an interview to Yunwoo.
This is Lee Sang-hoon's brother.
Yeah, Lee Sedol. Okay, so, and talking about his retirement, Shinjinso, and artificial intelligence and the future of Baduk. So,
and that's Cho Yeonwoo on the left.
Cho Yeonwoo, yes.
Cho Yeonwoo.
Yeah, and she's got a Baduk channel. Hopefully, she puts out this interview in English. But this post, for people who are interested, it's actually someone complaining about how poor the Chinese translation was. So I guess I don't know. Yeah. But looking forward to it if this video gets released in English. It'll be really interesting.
By the way, speaking of Lee Sedol, he's released some board games.
Yes, he has.
And interestingly enough, you and I both have a copy of these games.
Yes, we both have a copy of them. And
yes, are you able to just quickly go to some links?
Yeah, maybe you have to send them to me, Gaza, because I really don't have them. But
well, you just search the name of the.
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, the games are called Great Kingdom.
Great Kingdom.
King's Crown.
Yeah.
And 9 Nights.
Okay. So I believe there is there's a couple of videos by pros on these games, but there are like a set of 3 board games released by Isedo. One of them looks like this. And it's got a Isedo's picture in the front. Did Isedo design them?
Yes, and the games do have some similarities to Go. They're certainly inspired.
Yes.
By Go.
So Gaza, one day we're gonna have a play of these games and we're gonna do a review of them. Okay.
Yes, it's been suggested by one of our friends that you and I may own currently the only copies of these games in Australia.
Yes.
Hopefully that won't be the case for too long.
Yes.
But yes, maybe for a very special episode we might try and play these games.
Yes.
It's going to be difficult because we're not in the same. We live about 1,000 kilometers away from each other.
Yeah. But it might happen. It might happen.
Maybe if the opportunity arises, yes. But very interesting that Lee Sedol in retirement, he's obviously still got that Go bug or that competitive streak.
Yeah. Or he's still got his the gambling debt. But
jeez, okay.
Yes.
Okay. But in any case, yes. Let's move on to the next topic.
Next topic. Now, from one legend to another legend. Of course, I'm talking about this lady over here. I can't remember her name actually. So
that's Lee Sula.
Lee Sula, yes. I was very surprised because she won the gold medal in the Asian Games for Korea. In Baduk. But then after a few years, she went to she starts to live in China and married a Chinese person, and she's now been living in China for a while. Apparently,
she's actually completely retired. She's done the Lee Sedol retirement. She's no longer a professional technically.
Oh wow, that's amazing. But she lives in a not like one of the major cities in China as well. She lives in like a very small city. Okay, when I say small, it's by Chinese standards. Like the city's got like 1 million people in it, right? So, but it's a very small city by Chinese standards. So she lives there now, teaching Weiqi full time apparently. So, hey, but jokes aside, actually the person I want to talk about is Park Junghwan. And supposedly Park Junghwan and Shin Jin-seo are confirmed to be the participants for Korea in the individual events in the upcoming Hangzhou Asian Games. And
Yes,
Park
that's
said,
right.
I must win a medal. So he didn't say gold or silver or bronze, but he just wants a medal.
No, I think it's because he feels a responsibility as a representative of Korea to, you know, given all of the other people that were fighting for a spot
Yep.
In the individual competition, he must, you know, he must show that he deserved that spot. Like for him, just making the competition is not enough.
Yeah.
He must demonstrate that he earned that spot, because again, as we've mentioned before, one of the very important things about these Asian Games is that if in Korea, if you win the Asian Games, you get exemption from military service.
Yes.
And the noteworthy thing here is that Park Chun-hwan is already exempt
Yes.
from military service, because as you see in that picture, for those watching on YouTube, he participated in the previous Asian Games 13 years ago in 2010.
Yep.
And he won. He won not only the team competition, but the pair go competition.
Yes.
And those victories got him exemption
Yes.
from military service. So not only as part of the team, not only has he got a spot on the individual competition, but he's denied other players that spot. So he's denied players like Byun Sang-il, Shin Min-jun, and Kim Young-hoon a further opportunity to get military exemption from military service. So I think he feels that burden. Obviously Park Chun-hwan can't just let those players take his spot. I'm sure Park Chung-hwan perhaps feels some guilt at getting a spot over those guys, but he earned it because he fought.
Did he not also beat I believe Byung Sang-il to get this spot?
Yes,
I think he did.
if you scroll through those photos, if you go to the last photo, you'll see the tree that they have. So it was Byun Sang-il versus Lee Ji-hyun.
Yep.
Now Lee Ji-hyun is all these are basically the members of the Korean team in the team event. So essentially Shin Jin-so was given an automatic spot because he's Shin Jin-so. He's like Korea's god.
Yep.
So he was given a spot in the individual event without even having to fight for it.
Yep.
And then the other 5 players in the Korean team battled for the second spot.
Yes.
Now, Park Chun-hwan, because of his accomplishments, he got a direct seed to the final, whereas the other 4 had to battle for that second finalist spot.
Yep.
Now, interestingly enough, of those 4, Lee Ji-hyun has already done his military service. He served in the Navy last year. Well, he completed it last year. So, although he obviously wants the chance to play in the individual, he won't get military exemption because he's already done his service. But in any case, Byun Sang-il beat Lee Ji-hyun and Shin Min-jun beat Kim Young-hoon, and then between those two, Byun Sang-il won. So it was between Byun Sang-il and Park Chun-hwan for that second individual spot. And I believe it was a best-of-3 final, and Park Chun-hwan won either 2-0 or 2-1. I don't recall. I think it was 2-0. But obviously Park Chun-hwan wasn't just going to let Byun Sang-il win, despite the fact that Byun Sang-il had more to fight for.
Yes.
Park Chun-hwan, as a professional, he has to play his best and he has to try to win every game. But I'd imagine that this, due to the fact that he did one and he denied, Byun Sang-il another, this opportunity, he feels that he has a burden to have an exceptional result in the individual event. Yes.
Yep. Basically, what happened in this game, I've heard the news reporting about this, is Byung Sang-il went up to Lee Ji-hyun and says, "Hey, I'm the macho man, you're in the Navy." And then he met Shin Min-jun. What happened then? He met Shin Min-jun and said, "I want to shake your hand." And then by the time he met with Park Chun-hwan, he was like, "Oh, wow, you go, man. That's the YMCA for you. Go west." So that's the village people.
Yeah, village people. Yeah, because of the navy.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes. I think,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so that's what
So,
happened. So Park
yeah,
Junghwan got the spot. Very nice,
yes.
nicely
So
done.
just to clarify everything, these six players: Shin Jin So, Park Chun Hwan, Byun Sang Il,
Yeah,
Kim Young Hoon, Shin Min Jun,
yeah,
and Lee Jae Hyun.
yeah,
They will play in the team competition.
yeah.
And the team competition, I believe it's 5 players per
Yes,
match.
yeah,
So there's essentially a reserve, probably Lee Ji Hyun, but we
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. We don't know.
And if they win the team competition, they all get military exemption.
Yes, yes,
Whereas Park Chun Hwan and Shin Jin So will also be competing in the individual event.
yeah,
And if they manage to win that, if Shin Jin So manages to win, he will
yeah.
get military exemption.
Yes, yes. And these 6 players are also known as the village people of Baduk.
According to Zhao Dai and nobody
Yes,
else.
yes, yes. Lee Ji-hoon was definitely in the Navy, so that you can't deny that. All right. So Gaza, other bits of random news coming out of Korea. The YK Construction Cup. What's happened there?
Yeah, so this one is this is a bit of a delayed update, but the YK Construction Cup has concluded a couple of weeks ago. We just never had the time in a previous podcast to address it.
Yep.
But essentially, the finalists have been determined. In fact, the whole league has, the whole group stage has finished.
Yep.
Essentially, I didn't know how the tie breaks were going to work. In case players tied for points, but what happens is that the top 2 in the group will make the final. Now, I believe when we last left off, Shin Min Jun had already won 6 games and was guaranteed to make the final.
Yep.
Whereas Shin Jin So was on 5 wins and Park Chun Hwan was on 4 wins, but they both had a game left.
Yep.
So Shin Jin So, essentially, if he was able to beat Lee Chang Ho in his final round, he would also be guaranteed a spot in the final. And he did manage to win his game against Lee Chang Ho. So that put him on 6 wins as well. So Shin Jin So and Shin Min Jun, they both finished with 6 wins and 1 loss. And so they will be playing each other in the final. Now, the final is a best of 5 and it has not started yet. I believe it will start next week. But in any case, I also don't know what will happen, if any players get seeded into next year's event. I can imagine that Shin Jin So and Shin Min Jun will both be seeded into the event next year. Park Chun Hwan finished 3rd. I'm not sure if that's good enough for a seeding. It may not be because Shin Jin So, he finished 4th last year. And he had to qualify, even though he's Shin Jin So.
Right.
I believe Kim Young Hoon finished 3rd last year, and he had to qualify as well, and he failed to do that.
Right. Yes.
So it seems like they're really stingy in terms of automatic seeding for this tournament.
Yep.
But mind you, the YK Construction Cup, they can, they're the sponsors, they can change the rules as they see fit. So they may have more seeds next year. They may have no seeds next year. Maybe Shin Jin So and Shin Min Jun will both have to qualify next year as well.
Yeah.
You never know. But in any case, the best of 5 final will start next week. It's between Shin Jin So and Shin Min Jun. The last time these two met in a final was the Myeongin last year, where Shin Min Jun ended up winning 2-0.
Yeah, believe it or not.
So Shin Jin So will want to be getting revenge, and it's certainly can't write Shin Min Jun off.
No, we can't write him off. And we all know what happened when he played Kerje. And we all know what happened when Shin Jin So last played Shin Min Jun, and when Shin Jin So played Good Sehao. So anything can happen. So, and this is, of course, guys, I think you mentioned that Weiqi Construction Cup is actually a really fast tournament.
It is fairly fast. I believe
it's 1 minute.
I don't recall the time format. Last year they had 10 1-minute Byoyomis.
That's right. Yeah.
This year they changed it. I believe it's something like 20 minutes and 20 or 40 second Fisher increment or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So looking forward to the games. Shin Jin So versus Shin Min Jun. It's gonna be very interesting to watch. So looking forward to that. So that concludes the last bits of the random bits of news coming out of Korea. Because I think it's time for the calendar.
It's not time for the calendar
Oh, it's
because we
not?
missed the Korean League.
Oh yes, we have the Korean League. I keep forgetting about these Korean leagues.
Yes,
So let's
and
go
this
to the
is
Korean League.
yes, this is some pretty big news. Now, the Korean League has actually finished.
Yes. Oh yes.
It finished last night, so we need to cover it. Now, when we left off, there were 4 teams remaining. I believe they were Team Kicks, Team Korea Price Information, Team Junghwan Chinook,
Yep.
and Team. Oh, what was the other team?
Kicks price information.
It wasn't Korea Zinc.
Price information.
No, Korea Price Information. I already mentioned Kicks, Korea Price Information, Team Junghwan Jam.
Beautiful Hapcheon. Beautiful
Hapcheon. Beautiful Hapcheon.
Yes.
Yeah, Beautiful Hapcheon. So,
yes.
Beautiful Hapcheon were the defending champions. So the next match that happened was Team Junghwan Jam Chinook versus Beautiful Hapcheon.
Okay.
Now, in these are essentially semi-finals. Now, in these semi-finals, they're best of 3, and each match, best of 3 matches, each match is 5 rounds.
Right.
Now, if you recall, in the quarterfinals, or the first round of the playoffs, it was between second place and third place in those respective groups, and second place had the advantage of seeing the third place team's lineup for the first match. Now, this advantage was not extended beyond the first round, so no teams get advantages from here on in the remaining rounds of the playoffs. So it's essentially best of 3 matches, and each match is best of 5.
Yep.
And the way that they play it is that they do the first 3 rounds simultaneously, and if it's 3-0, they just finish. They don't play the other 2 rounds.
Right. Yep.
Otherwise they'll play the 4th round, and if it's still 2 games apiece, then they'll play the 5th round.
Yeah.
So they basically don't waste rounds. Now, in the first semi-final, like I said, Team Junghwan Jen Chinook played Beautiful Hapcheon, and Park Junghwan was paired up with Junghwan Jem's number 5 seed Hyo Youngrak. So Park Junghwan ended up winning that one, but it was probably a good matchup for Team Junghwan Jem Chinook because they managed to put their weakest player against Beautiful Hapcheon's strongest player, which is always an advantage.
Yes.
Then Junghwan Jem Chinook's Byun Sang-il was paired against Park Jong-hoon, and Byun Sang-il won that one. And then Hong Song-ji ended up beating Park Young-hoon. So that put Junghwan Jem Chinook up 2-1. So then Game 4 was Kim Jong-hoon, the veteran for Junghwan Jem Chinook, against Hyo Young-ho for Beautiful Hapcheon. Now, Hyo Young-ho, he's the number 5 player for Beautiful Hapcheon, but he has not played many games in this Korean league. And that lack of action, in fact, he only played 3 games in the entire league. And that lack of game action may have cost the team because he lost. And so Junghwan Jem Chinook won that first match 3-1. Now, the second match, Beautiful Hapcheon had a bit of misfortune again because Park Junghwan was once again paired up with Hyo Youngrak.
Yep.
And like I said, despite Hyo Youngrak winning, it was a fortunate matchup for Junghwan Jem Chinook. Byun Sang-il was paired up against Kim Jin-hui, and Byun Sang-il won that game. And then a small upset, Park Jong-hoon for Beautiful Hapcheon beat Hong Song-ji for Junghwan Jem Chinook. Now, that made it 2-1 to Beautiful Hapcheon, but the veteran Kim Jong-hoon, he beat Park Young-hoon to make it 2 games apiece. So it was down to the final game, and it was Kwon Ho-jin for Junghwan Jem Chinook against Yu Oh-seong, who is actually a reserve player for Beautiful Hapcheon. Yes. It seems like it seems like Beautiful Hapcheon were not at all confident with Hyo Young-ho, so they brought in Oh Yoo-seong, and I mean, like, you know, like not giving him giving him a trial by fire, because Oh Yoo-seong had to win this game to keep Beautiful Hapcheon's chances alive. Otherwise, they were eliminated.
Yep.
But Oh Yoo-seong managed to do that. I think it was a close game, but Kwon Ho-jin made a small mistake in Yosei. I don't quite recall. But in any case, Oh Yoo-seong won. And so Beautiful Hapcheon won this match 3-2, which means it goes to a deciding match. And in the deciding match, Junghwan and Chinook, they put Hyo Young-rak on board 1 for the 3rd straight match. And this time, Beautiful Hapcheon, they learned their lesson, because they didn't put Park Junghwan on board 1 anymore. They put Park Young-hun there.
Yep.
However, Park Young-hun actually lost to Hyo Young-rak. Now, Park Young-hun actually lost all 3 of his games. So, yeah, he didn't do too... He was a bit of a letdown for Beautiful Hapcheon in this match, like in this round. But Beautiful Hapcheon got a bit of hope, because both number ones were paired up against each other, Byun Sang-il versus Park Junghwan, and Park Junghwan ended up winning that one.
Yep.
However, Hong Song-ji then beat Park Jong-hoon to make it 2-1 for Junghwan Chinook, and then the veteran Kim Jung-hoon, who was sent out to board for all 3 matches, he ended up winning all 3 of his matches, because he beat Kim Jin-hui in this one to make it 3-1 to Junghwan Chinook, which meant they won the round. And Beautiful Hapcheon, the defending champions, they were eliminated. And you have to say, Park Young-hoon probably feels like he let the team down in this one.
Oh, wow.
What do you reckon?
Oh, wow.
Because he lost all 3 of his games. Bit unfortunate, but sometimes that happens. That's Baduk for you.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Now,
so Team Hapcheon actually got eliminated.
That's right. Yeah, they eliminated.
Oh my god.
Whereas Junghwan Chinook, they make the final. They're into the grand final.
Wow.
Now, the next week was the second semi-final, and this was between Team Kicks and Team Career Price Information. And everyone was keen on this one, because Team Kicks, that's Shin Jin-so's team. Now, in match 1, Shin Jin-so was paired up against Cho Han-seong, the veteran. Shin Jin-so won that game. However, Kang Dong-yoon beat Kim Chang-hoon, and Kang Seung-min beat Baekhyun-woo. So that made it 2-1 to Korea Price Information. And then Han Song-ju beat Park Jin-sol to make it 3-1. So Korea Price Information, they won the first match. And once again, Shin Jin-so was the only member of his team to win. He won his game, but all of his teammates lost. And fans, and perhaps even Shin Jin-so himself, were probably starting to wonder, is this just going to keep on happening?
Yes.
Like, Shin Jin-so seems to be the only consistent player in this team.
Yes.
Everyone else seems to be losing more than they're winning. Is this just going to be a disaster?
Yeah.
Well, in match 2, Team Kicks, whatever was knocked into them worked, because Kim Chang-hoon, he beat Cho Han-seong.
Yep.
And then Kim Sung-jae beat Kang Seung-min. That's right, Kim Sung-jae.
Wow.
Now, Kim Sung-jae, he had not won a game in the Korean League all year.
Yep.
That's right, all year. And you're thinking, but didn't the Korean League start like a week before the end of 2022? That's right. Yeah. Kim Sung-jae's only win came in the very first round of the Korean League. After that, he lost 10 straight games.
Yep.
he lost so many games. No, 9 straight games. My apologies. He lost so many games that they basically stopped playing him.
Right.
They put in Kim Chang-hoon or a reserve player in his place for most of the later rounds of the Korean League. But they brought him in perhaps out of desperation because everyone else seemed to be losing.
Yep.
And he won.
And he produced the goods.
Yeah.
He
finally produces the goods, and perhaps it's at the most opportune time for the team.
Yeah, yeah. Or the guy running the sports betting ring has finally bought out the checks, but I don't know. One of them.
Yes, that's right, Hanamaru. He had not won all year in the Korean League, and I believe he had also, in all competition, he had a 14-game losing streak.
Can you believe it? Yes.
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 And
now I'm wondering how big was the check.
In fact, his rating dropped so low. So when he was selected, he was the 3rd seed for his team.
Yep.
His rating dropped so low, it dropped below the 4th seed, the 5th seed, and one of the reserve players for Team Kicks.
Right.
So he was essentially the 6th highest ranked player by Korean rankings at this point.
Yep.
But they brought him back, and he finally produced the goods, beating Kang Seung-min. And then board 3 was Shin Jin-so dispatching Han Sung-ju.
Yep.
So Kicks actually won 3-0.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And yeah, what's even crazier, because they won 3-0, Kang Dong-yoon didn't even get to play.
Right.
Because they didn't bring him out in the first 3 boards.
Yeah.
So then the very next day was 3rd match. So whoever wins this match goes through the final. Now, Team Kicks. Now, is it going to be career price information? Are they going to bounce back for match 2? Or is Team Kicks going to continue their onslaught from the previous day? And it turned out one team came out to play for sure.
Yeah.
And it was Team Kicks.
Right.
On the first board.
Yeah. Kim
Chang-hoon beat Jin Si-young.
Yep.
The number 5 player for career price information. Board 2 was the top seeds against each other.
Yeah.
Shin Jin-so against Kang Dong-yoon.
Yes.
Now, Kang Dong-yoon has actually beaten Shin Jin-so twice this year, including once in the Korean League.
That's right, yeah.
But Shin Jin-so was laser focused, and he dispatched Kang Dong-yoon. And then Kim Sung-jae once again beat Kang Seung-min. 3-0 yet again for Kicks. 2 3-0 victories in a row.
How abnormal is this?
After all their bluttering and stuttering, including a streak of 4 straight matches in the regular season where only Shin Jin-so won any games.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they've come out with 2 3-0 demolitions, and this career price information team, they topped their group by a huge margin.
Yeah.
And now they're made to look like rank amateurs.
Yeah.
Made to look like Team Japan. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay, yeah, okay. Wow. I mean, it is a bit unusual, given how they've performed in the regular season. But hey, it is what it is.
Yes, exactly. And you have to feel good for Kim Sung-jae. He must have felt terrible, letting the team down time and time again. But he finally delivers.
Yeah.
And he'd actually, I did say that he'd lost 9 straight games in the regular season. He also lost 2 games in the first round of the playoffs. So he actually lost 11 straight games in the Korean League. And now he's come back and he's won 2 straight.
Yep.
So then the final is Team Junghwan Chinok. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing that. Versus Team Kicks. Byun Sang-il's team versus Shin Jin-so's team.
Yep.
Now, the first round was on Saturday, 2 days ago, as of this recording. And I'd noticed one interesting thing. Now, the first match. The interesting thing of this first match is they announced the first three boards at the same time because they start at the same time.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed was that Byun Sang-il was not in the first three boards, and that reminded me of last year's final, where in the first match between Team Celtrion and Team Beautiful Hapcheon, Team Celtrion did not put Shinjin So on the first three boards.
Yep.
And what happened was Celtrion lost 3-0, and Shinjin So didn't even get to play that round. And that was, I found that to be insane because if you recall that season, last season, Shinjin So won every single game he played. And so it was basically essential that he play, every round, but he didn't get to play because he wasn't on the first three boards and they lost all three. Well, Team Junghwan Chinook have done the same thing with Byun Sang-il, and I thought to myself, are they going to get the same result?
Yeah.
And it turns out that's exactly what happened. On board one, Kim Chang-hun had a bit of an upset to beat Hong Song-ji.
Yep.
On board two, Shinjin So defeated Hyo Young-rak. I did check out the game, and it wasn't a demolition, but it was easy enough.
Right.
And then on board three, Kim Song-jae, that's right, that Kim Song-jae beat Kwon Ho-jin. Team Kicks beat Jongkwan-jan Chinook 3-0 and denied Byun Sang-il the opportunity to play in that entire round.
Yep.
And so now, Team Kicks were one match win away from a championship where 2 weeks before the playoffs, they looked like they weren't even going to make the postseason. Now they're on the verge of a championship.
And they've done it by winning 3 matches so far with a 3-0 score.
That's right. And all three of those had the same 3 players: Shinjin So, Kim Song-jae, and Kim Chang-hun.
Right. Let's be honest, Gaza. When is the anti-corruption squad going to get involved?
It's just amazing. Elom's asking, why wouldn't you put your top player on board 3? Well, you should put your top player on the first 3 boards.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Board 1, I believe, has slightly longer time controls than boards 2 and 3. Yeah. So there is a difference between boards 1 and boards 2 and 3. But other than that, it's essentially the same because they all play at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, but so three matches in a row. Team Kicks have put out Shinjin So, Kim Song-jae, and Kim Chang-hun on the first 3 boards, and in all 3 matches they've won 3-0. So the second match of the final, do you think that Team Kicks would put out the same 3 players on those first 3 boards?
Well, they would want to repeat the formula, wouldn't they?
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yes.
And you can't blame them. You can't blame them. You if you've got you go with the hot hand, right?
Yeah.
If it's working, then may as well.
Yeah.
So they put Kim Chang-hun on board 1. I think they put Kim Chang-hun on board 1 all 4 of these matches.
Yeah. It's
and like I said, board 1 is the longest time control. However, on this occasion, they finally had a loss. Kim Chang-hun fell to Kim Jung-hyun.
Yep.
The veteran for team Jongkwan Chinook.
Yep.
Kim Chang-hun had his chances, but yeah, Kim Jong-un is just more experienced, I think, and when they got into time pressure, he just played better. Kim Song-jae, though, he was board 2 against Kwon Ho-jin, and guess what? Kim Song-jae won again, 4 straight wins. Can you believe it? He went 1 win. His Korean League so far has been 1 win, 11 losses, 4 wins. I mean, what a player! I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, it does sound very strange, Gaza, I have to say.
And then in another dose of bad luck, for when they needed it least, Team Jongkwan Chinook put Byun Sang-il on board 3, as they had to put him on the top 3 boards. But guess what? Facing him on the other side was Shin Jin-so.
Right.
And you may be thinking, well, Byun Sang-il is a top player. He's capable of beating Shin Jin-so. Well, not yesterday he wasn't. Shin Jin-so, honestly, Shin Jin-so had a tougher time beating Hyo Young-rak on in match 1 than he did against Byun Sang-il.
Yeah.
It was just a walk in the park for Shin Jin-so. And you just have to imagine that Shin Jin-so was just absolutely pissed, after losing the Chujo Lanka final.
Yeah.
He's just looking to murder anyone on the go board, that is.
Yeah.
Like he anyone that gets in his way, look out. And so after 3 boards, it was 2-1 to Team Kicks. And so that means that Team Junghwan Chinook had to win boards 4 and 5 just to take it to a 3rd match.
Oh, wow.
And board 4 was Hong Song-ji versus Park Jin-sol.
Yeah.
And so if Park Jin-sol was able to win this, then Team Kicks are the champions. And believe it or not, Park Jin-sol did in fact win this.
Oh my God.
I think it perhaps was a fairly exciting game, not insanely exciting, but a good game. But in the end, a very good game for Park Jin-sol, because he clinched the title for Team Kicks with that win. And it's just incredible because Junghwan Chinook and Career Price Information, they were by far the 2 strongest teams in the regular season.
Yes.
I'll just quickly check their regular season results. So, Career Price Information, every team played 16 matches in the regular season. Career Price Information won 11 matches. Team Junghwan Chinook won 13 matches. 13 matches won, 3 matches lost.
Yeah.
So they would have been the hot favourites, and they ended up going 1-6. 1 win, 6 losses against Team Kicks, who were struggling, and they didn't even have to use Baekhyun Woo in the final. Baekhyun Woo was the only player other than Shin Jin-so to score more than 50% in the regular season. Just remarkable. You've got all these players teams like Career Price Information, Baduk Mecha, Beautiful Hapcheon, Junghwan Chinook, which is a team of even performers. All of their players are either 50% or a little above it. Then you've just got Team Kicks, which is just Shin Jin-so just steamrolling everyone. He's only one player.
Yeah.
And yet they win. They found the special sauce, whatever it was. They found the special sauce.
Yeah.
When it mattered the most.
Yeah. Or as one of our friends who quoted a famous soccer quote in that Baduk is a game where 2 player plays, and then Shin Jin-so wins.
Shin Jin-so wins at the end, yes.
Yes.
Well,
so congrats to Shin Jin-so for winning 2. I believe. Oh no, he didn't win last year.
He didn't win last year. He won the year before.
Yes. So he's always associated with a team in the final. So that's quite an achievement already. Yes.
Yes, and I'm now. So while this ends the Baduk League, in terms of the games, they'll still have the MVP award.
Yes.
And I believe the nominees for that will be Shin Jin-so, Byun Sang-il, and perhaps also Hong Song-ji.
Right.
At the very least, Shin Jin-so and Byun Sang-il. Yeah. There's not going to be any. There's not going to be any sort of suspense or surprise because Shin Jin-so will obviously win that one.
Yes.
But
I know who I'll be voting for.
Yeah.
Hong Song-ji.
Yeah, but Shin Jin-so, just for the record, I believe Shin Jin-so went 28 wins, 2 losses.
Oh wow. Yes.
28 wins and 2 losses. That's absolutely astonishing. More than 90% win rate.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff.
But big congrats to Kicks. Big ups to my man Kim Song Jae. I knew he had it in him. I
Yes.
always backed him.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
but big ups to the whole team, including Park Jin Sol, Kim Chang Hoon, and Baekhyun Woo.
Yep.
But yeah, that ends another season of the Korean League, a successful season. Hopefully we see Team Taiwan and Team Japan back. Yes, Team Japan. I do hope they come back.
Yes.
But in terms of Korean League action, the Women's League will be starting soon.
Very nice.
We'll preview that next week because we're going a bit over time in this podcast.
Yeah.
But I do want to preview that next week, so please put that in the itinerary for next week's podcast, Shadow.
Let's do that. Okay, so Gaza, that's the Korean League, and I guess it's time for the calendar this time.
That's right. Let's go to the calendar.
Mm-hmm. The calendar does look a bit barren, so let me do a refresh.
I have refreshed. I have updated the calendar.
Yes. So what we've got is actually. Well, it's already past midnight, so starting today.
Yes, as of this recording, it is now Tuesday.
Yeah,
so
Tuesday. So today it's going to be Gosei Game 1, Iyama Yuta versus Ichiriki Ryo. And I think there's a Korea's Strongest final.
The Korea's Strongest final. Now, if you don't recall, the first two games of the Korea's Strongest final were played, I believe, last month. And Shinjin-so won both of those. This is game 3. It's a best of 5. So Park Jun-won has to win this game to keep his hopes alive. Now, I don't want you to prematurely congratulate Shinjin-so like you did for the Chujo Lanka Cup.
Yeah.
Because anything, as we've seen, anything can happen.
Yes.
But indeed, if Shinjin-so does win this game, he will retain the title for the 4th straight year.
Yeah, wow. That's happening. Now, I don't know if this is still true or not, but the Chinese Guosho competition might be on next week, but let's see if it's
you'll have to check your connections on that one.
Yeah, I'll check my connections. I have no idea.
Yes. Other than that, we have some Korean domestic action, including the IBK Cup and the Dr. G Korea's Women's Strongest tournaments. Both of these tournaments we haven't yet previewed.
Yep.
We will do that. We will try to do that in next week's podcast as well.
Yes.
We also have the Yongseong quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And a GS Caltex Cup semi-final. We should mention the names here: Kim Ji-sok and Byun Sang-il. The other semi-final will be between, I believe, Choi Jong and Park Jin-sol.
Yes. Oh, wow.
So, yes, so quite a few tournaments are underway domestically in Korea.
Yeah.
We also have, if it continues, Korea's Strongest final game 4 will happen on Friday.
Yes. Yes.
And it looks like we have an empty Saturday.
Yeah.
First time in a while we've got an empty day. I can't see anything on the Korean calendar.
Yes, so maybe it's a good rest day.
A good rest day. Actually, something that I forgot to put in, but game 5 of the Korea's Strongest final will be on the Sunday.
Yep.
If it happens.
Yes. If it happens. Yes. So I
will add that one, yes.
Yes. So that's it for the calendar, and also congrats to Shinjin-so for winning the Korea's Strongest. Well done. And
there we go. It's happened now.
There we go. And we'll see.
I love the comment. I love these comments in the chat. People are chastising me for my Team Japan. My Team Japan comment. Don't think we don't read these comments, by the way. We do read these comments and we find them hilarious.
Yes.
Hanamaru is saying, oh, great, Gosei, Ichiriki versus Iyama. So more food photos.
Yeah. More food photos, yes.
And Elom's asking, who will win the GS Caltex Cup after Shinjin-so's 3 wins? Small correction, it was actually 5 times in a row that Shinjin-so won it.
Yes.
And I have to say that the hot favourite to win this GS Caltex Cup is Byun Sang-il. After losing in the final last year, he now sees himself with a hot chance. And what would be amazing is if he ended up playing Choi Jong in the
Yes.
final. Can you imagine Byung-Sang-il versus Choi Jong
Yes.
after what happened in last year's Samsung Cup semi-final?
Yes. Well, I'm
Yes.
hoping that he will be slapping a different part of his body this time.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe that Kim Ji-sok is the only of the 4 remaining players that is a former GS Caltex Cup champion.
Oh wow. So.
But if you recall, I think it happened last year or maybe the year before. He actually once lost to Shinjin So in the GS Caltex Cup on time.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, it's a very interesting loss on time. That one, he just completely forgot that there's only one Byoyoni.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yes, but yeah, it certainly looking forward. Certainly, lots of things to look forward to, and thanks everyone in the chat.
Yes.
Who's commentating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I guess Gaza, that brings us to the end of another episode.
Yes.
So,
Oh, I do see a comment here mentioning that you don't live in New South Wales.
yes, no, I don't.
Yes, yeah, because I mentioned before that we live 1,000 kilometers away from each other.
Yes.
For the record, we're actually old friends from university. We did meet in person.
Yes.
At university, and then we both became addicted to Go.
Yeah.
Later on in life, we actually met pre-Go addiction.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough,
believe it or not, this is a long time ago as well. So,
but Zhu ended up getting a life and a career, and he moved away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we still keep regularly in touch, mainly because of Go, but also many other interests.
Yes. For example, those board games, but
Yes.
yes.
But once again, yes, I think you mentioned it is time to say goodbye, and I think you're correct. Yes.
Yes. So I guess it's time to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.